So, hi everyone. I'd like to welcome my dear friend Saskia from Saskia's Flower Essences, who's come to talk to me today. And we're going to have a chat about flower essences and how we can use those during midlife and during the menopause journey. So, welcome, Saskia. Really lovely to have you here.
Very nice to be talking to you.
And for those who don't follow you but follow me and haven't come across you before, can you just briefly introduce yourself and Saskia's Flower Essences, and then we can kind of go on from there. So
okay. Introducing myself. Well, I'm Saskia Majoram. I'm blessed with a very good name. And for about the last 20 years now, I've been making my own flower essences. And I started making them with a friend of mine, and so we learned along the way. We just got drawn into it through our own life journeys and needing them for ourselves and our children, who are all different stage of life. But when that kind of young mum's hitting the floor running, you know, relationship issues, what am I going to do in life? Dyslexia, dyspraxia, school refusals, all the rest of it, stuff comes up. We discovered not Australian bush essences, but we were both plants people. I work with plants on a everyday level, and gardening and being a florist, and so I knew them on a practical level quite well. And then when I discovered how easy it was to make my own essences, we got really into it. And so that was in fact more than 20 years ago now.
Wow.
But about 7-8 years ago, it was always a side hustle. So about 7 years ago, I decided to do it full time. 2017, 2018, I had an opportunity not to earn quite so much money, so I just thought I'd just dive in and do it. And from then, we had lockdown and everything. But by that time, I felt like I really knew our range of essences, and I kind of got to know them. But it was a bit like having a boyfriend and then moving in with them. It's only when I did it full time I realized I just got right there. Not realized, but it's just like, okay. So now, you know, now many years on, I do actually feel like I really, you know, getting to know a plant is quite like getting to know a human, in that they use stuff all the time, and different people need different essences. So I will stop there, because not all of you might know what a flower essence is. So when we talk about flower essences, we're talking about similar to the bark flower remedies. So you take them as drops under your tongue, and they contain the vibration of the plant that they come from, which helps you readjust your own personal energy. So you take whatever plants that you need at that time to shift and change emotional behaviors. So they don't work on a physical level. Obviously, we know our emotions merge in with our physical stuff. There's no separation. But in general, they're aimed at emotional behavioral stuff.
And I know that I came across them in I think it was my 20s. I went off to a Mind Body Spirit you know, sort of local hall, and I was feeling particularly all over the place at the time, and I just happened to stand in front of this lady who was doing the bark flower remedies, and she doused me a remedy for me, and it was fascinating to watch. And she gave me all the names of the flower essences, and I went away with my tincture and I looked up all the different flowers that had gone in there. And it was for someone that had not come across them before, I think I'd come across Rescue Remedy. My mum had used Rescue Remedy before, and it was fascinating reading about each particular flower, and you know, and thinking, gosh, that is just so me at that particular time. And over that sort of next 24-hour, 48 period, I noticed a real change and leveling of my emotions and a shift. And that was my first introduction to them. And I've used them ever since. I've used them on my girls when they've been going through challenging times. So I find they're exceptionally useful. And as you say, just for, you know, bringing in that holistic approach and sort of, you know, that whole person thing, really. So
I mean, they are just brilliant tools. And what I often say to people is a bit like, you know, we know we should let go, we know we should be less anxious, we know we should stop worrying about our children, but we're not taught how to do that. It's like we might know consciously what it is we need to do to become better, more whole, healthy human beings, but taking the flower essence is like handing all your problems over to a friend. It's like, I haven't got time, I don't know what the issue is, can you sort this out, please? And if you choose the right essences, it's like they do it. You know, I'm still amazed. You know, it's like, I've got this problem, can you sort it out? And you go, oh, I've stopped worrying about my, you know, kids or whatever it was you were like nervy about. And it's like, okay, that's stopped now.
It just brings that. It's almost like they kind of take your hand and sort of just guide you through in a just a way whereby everything just sort of levels off and it just calms and it becomes more manageable.
Yeah. And
You
it's
know,
like you don't even have to do anything. You know, you don't have to do your yoga or your affirmations or your whatever's, you know.
Yeah.
When we first discovered essences, we didn't have time for that. You know, you remember to take your essence twice a day. Brilliant. And then just stuff would disappear. Or awarenesses would come and you go, oh, you just clock. You do, oh, I'm doing that thing again. I didn't
I think
didn't stand up for myself. You know, just stuff that we've had, you know, often since sometimes pre, you know, verbal. But, you know, often we forget how, you know, some girl, you know, telling us we're ugly in the school playground when we were 6 or whatever, we've carried that forever.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah, it's huge. And I think that's why I love as well with sort of pets, with things like homeopathy, and you can use flower essences for pets, can you?
Yeah, they're very
and
sorry, I'm worried about that.
No, that's all right.
You know,
And with pets as well, they don't make any judgments. You know, they so they just it just helps them. They don't kind of, you know, we like to analyze everything. Whereas with pets, they just get given it and it either works or it doesn't really. So
you know, they're great with animals, but we won't sidetrack too much.
No, we won't, because I know you and I could easily.
But it is a good way of using them with children who aren't necessarily aware of what they're taking, or animals, of like it not just being a placebo effect. You know, placebo effect can stop. You know, you can cure people by giving them placebo. But with flower essences, people go, oh, well, you know, it hasn't got anything in there, has it? It's just, you know. My kids say it's just fucking vodka and water, and just calling people when they were teenagers, and I'd like, shall I run your bath then, dear? And I'd put the drops in, and that thing, you know, the next day that thing would have stopped. You know, they shifted on. You know, kids are so much quicker at changing than we are.
Definitely.
But yeah, so I'm, you know, I'm still really, really excited about the potential of essences, even this far on. You know, it's you get sucked into the kind of marketing or the, you know, accounts or whatever, but actually how the essences work and the results that we're getting from people using them are just like still completely amazing. You know, they really blow me away.
And I think going through sort of, you know, midlife and going through that menopause journey can be really challenging. And we were talking before we came on about, you know, the sort of differing kind of emotions that we can kind of go through, and also emotions that we can have that maybe we've not had before. So you know, somebody that's really confident who all of a sudden loses confidence, or has you know, a huge bout of anxiety, and that is almost crippling them, and it can be the first time they've experienced that. And something like the flower essences, I think, can be really helpful when we're going through this kind of journey.
I mean, for me, I've been lucky all the way through my womanhood, I guess, in that my hormones haven't ruled my life as far as I was aware anyway. I'm sure they have, because obviously, but I didn't suffer, you know, in pregnancy or periods or whatever. I didn't really suffer, but so I was really quite shocked, even though physically my menopause wasn't too bad, you know, hot flushes and whatever, but the increased anxiety, it's like, oh my God, I used to be happy-go-lucky, you know, I jump on a plane with a toothbrush in my back pocket, you know. It's like, you woun't think about, oh, when I get there, where will the bus station be? How will I find if my friend's not there waiting for me, what am I going to do? And then suddenly you've got all this stuff. And it's like, I didn't you know, there's no other reason for it that I've had that. No bad experiences or stuff that's happened to you in life. Obviously, we've got more life experience, so we're aware of what could go wrong. But actually, it never worried me before. It's like, I knew I could deal with it. I'm a strong, capable, you know, independent woman. It's like, that shouldn't be a problem. It's like, I still find it now, even like booking to go to a play in this, you know, in town. It's like, well, when I get there, you know, I wonder how I'll find where the play is from the car park.
It's madness. It is, and it's almost like it kind of comes over from, I should say, from nowhere, where, you know, in 1 minute you're this, you know, fabulously confident person. I mean, I find it's kind of often driving long distance somewhere where it wouldn't have passed. I would recently, my daughter's been doing university visits, and we've been going off different places. And the other week I went up to Cheltenham and Bath Spa, and driving in the thrashing rain, and I was like overwhelmed by all this anxiety, and I was like, oh my God, this is madness. I love driving, but this is just silly. But as you say, all of a sudden, you know, things that you've been doing without thought, all of a sudden become problematic, but I think you're just more aware of them, really.
So for anyone who's going, yes, me, that's me, our Calm and Confident, we do a blend that's called Calm and Confident, which is the general one for anxiety and just brings that calm and confidence. Just, most of our essences do what they say on the label. We've made them quite easy to choose, but the Calm and Confident will be the one that I would recommend, like before you as soon as you start thinking, oh, I've got to do that thing tomorrow and go to in the car to blah blah, it's like, okay, I'll take the drops, and then before you get in the car, take the drops, and then as and when. Travel is a big one. Obviously it takes us out of our comfort zones. Most of us make our lives quite controllable to make them safe and easy. Obviously we can all throw a curveball, but when you go out of that, and traveling is one of those particular ones. So the Calm and Confident, anything slight anxiety, brilliant. It's brilliant. Like, let's just you don't need to do that. You all those experiences you've had in life, you've managed so far. It's like, I really don't have to worry about
you can do it,
whether I'll be late for the interview or whatever it is. It's like
it doesn't matter. You can still rock up late, but just calm. Without the anxiety there.
The anxiety, that was my biggest shock actually, was the anxiety. And as we were saying earlier, I make this little box that's called Menopause Support Kit. And obviously all women have different experiences and different journeys, and they go through other stuff at the same time, as you say, like kids going off, leaving home, or parents needing caring for, those kind of things. That was what happened with our age. But the actual menopause bit, the two that I felt really needed to go in there was the Calm and Confident and the Sexy and Gorgeous.
And the Sexy and Gorgeous I love. So I stock your combination essences, and I always find that you sort of you offer up the Sexy and Gorgeous to to people, and they're like, oh no, that's not me. I don't think I need that. And we were saying, actually, no, you do need that.
Because you're not going to become something suddenly rampant, and have to go out and have sex with someone. But if you want, feel free. And some couples really enjoy using it for that reason. But it's that the kind of the decreased libido, which some women find really difficult, and some people it's a massive relief, but it depends on your situation. But more the kind of confidence again, and that kind of feeling attractive. It's like when you get grey hair, or you start doing wrinkles, or your skin changes, or you get extra weight around your middle. We can feel not as attractive, and we're kind of used to being these kind of active women who sassy and whatever, and suddenly that goes, and the Sexy and Gorgeous, it just brings it back. It just brings that bit of sparkle back and a bit of perkiness, even if it's just before you go out to a party. Or I use it quite often. It's one of my favorite ones. I still use it a lot, and it's it just brings you back into I'm all right. It just brings that twinkle back, that you can just like feel a bit dreary, and it's just like we're all gorgeous, and we can all be, we can be all sexual. We don't have to be sexual, but having that is the energy of that sexualness. It's like keeping all your chakras open, basically. And that one hits that sacral chakra, and then the solar plexus. So we're going to start talking about chakras, but that kind of confidence bit, the stomach bit. Which again, I hadn't. It's funny when you start talking about things. It's like I hadn't thought that actually that weight around our middle could be
it's around a protection
those
chakras,
those kind of chakras that we kind of like, oh, I can't. It pulls us. We can't be confident or sexy or whatever. So that one just brings you back into like ding.
It does, and it's all about as well supporting us into that new phase of being, and that kind of many women, I think, grieve for the person they thought they were, and we're moving into something different. But it's that sort of feeling of sort of moving positively into that next phase, and actually embracing it and really enjoying it, because it's there to be enjoyed. And then in your menopause box as well, you've got the Sexy and Gorgeous, Calm and Confident, and then you've got one of your floral essences.
Yes, one of the mists, easy sleep mist, which is in lavender. Again, sleep becomes an issue.
It does. Unfortunately.
To be honest, it is really lovely, and it does help you sleep. And it's in lavender, so that can be very cooling, especially if you get those night sweats. However, lots of the not, I will just add this, it's like flower essences can help with the emotional stuff. And if you're worrying about stuff, that Easy Sleep will help you let go and release. However, my sister, I'll just say this, in that she had really bad insomnia with her menopause.
Okay.
And because it was a hormonal imbalance, without balancing the hormones, it didn't solve the sleep problem.
No. And I think it's
so
everyone is so everyone's so
not
unique.
Necessarily,
No, and I think everyone's so unique and different, and it's a lot of it often is kind of putting tools into, I always say it's like putting tools into your backpack. So you've got lots of things that you can pull out and use and utilize, and sometimes they may well work, and it kind of gives you that sort of support really. And would you utilize as well as sort of the sort of spray, something like Breathe Deep, Seek Peace for sort of sleep issues?
Yeah, they're very similar. The essence is in the Easy Sleep. I just tweaked it a bit with the Easy Sleep mist, I think, because I just made Dandelion Seed, which we hadn't when we originally made the Breathe Deep, Seek Peace blend, which is our bestseller. Because again, it's the sleep thing. And the letting go, the not worrying, the relaxing, the just like, rather than having a large gin and tonic. Again, we were talking about that earlier, weren't we, about how alcohol isn't your friend during menopause at all.
No.
A, it increases the anxiety, and B, our bodies can't metabolize it half as well, so we get worse hangovers. There. But yes,
no, but it is because the liver is put under so much more pressure at that time as well. So it's
so the Breathe Deep, Seek Peace is just that kind of just like that, like you would get with an alcohol hit. It's just like, oh, okay, I just at the end of the day, it's just like I'll take my drops and just go, oh, okay, I'll let that go. Don't need to worry about that till tomorrow. Let's just rest.
Which is really, really nice.
Which is really crucial.
And anything that you would sort of use for things like brain fog, because that's something that I find, and I think it scares us, when you sort of get to that phase whereby literally you're midway through a conversation, and I find just words that I know just disappear, and I have to kind of create a new couple of words to describe what I'm trying to say. I know what it is, what I want to say, but I can't find the word, and just got this sort of fog comes over, and the brain just sort of stops. I mean, would you?
It's very frustrating.
Really.
In fact, I've got some here, my rosemary tea, and a herbal front. Peppermint essence can be very useful.
Okay.
However, what I will say is often with menopause, it's more about how we perceive things. And I remember someone saying that the brain fog thing is as we come into menopause and we get, we're not so held down by all our hormones and being well behaved and nice and nurturing and nourishing for other people. It's like we're coming fully into our power. It's because our intuition increases so massively during this phase as we kind of grow into the next phase. Is that actually we realize that those things that we really think we should remember, like telephone numbers or whatever, obviously it helps, if you're having a conversation with someone, but we're, society is so masculine and so direct and so fact-based that as we come into this much more, massively feminine phase of ourselves, it's like actually most of that stuff really doesn't matter. It's like, the reason you can't remember is your intuition's kicking in and you're got loads wider and your brain is actually becoming loads bigger. Your whole being is becoming loads bigger, and your intuition and everything. So actually, if you can manage life without worrying about your brain fog, it's just a sign that you are just becoming a much more massive, incredible human being.
That's a bigger part of yourself,
powerful woman, much more intuitive. And obviously in workplace situations, or you've got to remember, your child's birthday when they go to hospital. It's quite crucial, but it is because society is set up to be in a masculine way. So if you cannot let it panic you, just let that growth happen. I feels like I'm a few years down the line from but it's nice.
It's nice though talking to someone who is sort of with different sort of phases, because I'm sort of 51 and I'm still in that sort of perimenopausal phase where I've still got her cycle and things like that. So I'm in a different sort of space, and it's nice to talk to people that are further along. And also talk positively about that sort of journey as well, because often it can feel for many women quite a negative journey, and I'm all for that positive journey, because I think that's ultimately how it should be.
When it's a matter of relief, isn't it? you know, it's a relief and release from all that, you know. Hopefully, you know, as like you know, your kids leaving home, and you know, we can this, you know, we're probably the first generation that has got this freedom as we get older.
Yeah,
you know,
very true.
hopefully financially a bit, obviously if you got university and stuff, I know it's very draining, but
Yeah, well,
just in, you know, how we're perceived, just how we're perceived in society and stuff. And it's just like, I'm really excited about the next phase. You know, it's like my energy is just starting to come back again. That's another massive thing of not having that energy, because it's all being used in this, I think probably all being used in this push-pull thing that we've got. You know, it's like, we shouldn't, you know, in primitive societies we just become the wise women and we just sit around and give advice most of the day, or do the healing or whatever, you know, like we'd be given a different role. Whereas we're just trying to do everything, you know, we're trying to be the, you know, career woman and the mother and the carer for the parents and the money earners, blah blah, and actually it's just too much for us. And I think that's why we're all struggling, you know. It's like we're not superwoman, and it's we don't give ourselves, again, it's like there are essences to help you just not give yourself as much chip, you know, and just yourself up about not being the perfect idealized thing that we're supposed to.
And I think that society thinks that we should be, and we are sandwiched often, as you say, between ailing parents and often young or teenage children, depending on how long we left it if we decided to have a family. I mean, I know in my house I've got teenage girls and I'm perimenopausal, so the hormone clashes are great in our house. So out come those essences to try and level everything off. My poor husband, bless him.
I mean there's so many essences and we're all doing different stuff, but I think my main thing is like there are some that are specific, you know, anxiety, sleeplessness, self-esteem, and then there's so many others. And then just look at our range on the website, or if you've got questions, kind of get back to me with specific issues. And
also you do your bespoke essence consultations as well, so if someone wanted to come to you direct for something that is more targeted for them at that particular stage, then they can reach out to you and do that, can't they?
And like it was nice when you said that you met someone years ago and they dowsed for you, because it's such a brilliant way of choosing essences with the pendulum. Again, it's coming into that kind of strong feminine thing of just trusting our intuition and just deciding which ones, you know. For me, it's why I'm doing it more and more now, dowsing for people. And you don't have to have a consultation, you can just send me your selfie and I can do it like that. But it is a great way of not only dealing with the stuff that you're managing at the moment, but kind of releasing some of that those old patterns and old stories about yourself that we're still cling on to. And as you say, as we're, you know, coming into the next phase, it's that kind of chrysalis phase almost, isn't it? It's like, well, if we can let go of as much of that past trauma or past stuff as we can, then the next phase is going to be so much easier and more fun and more, you know, everything.
It's that transformation, isn't it, into sort of from one butterfly into another even more beautiful butterfly. I always think that's kind of how it feels, really. So and you recently, I mentioned that we talk about a little bit about because you've recently brought out your men's essences, and I know that, you know, sometimes partners can find our journey quite challenging. And also men going through midlife can also find that time quite challenging for them from a different perspective. So you've now got your 3 men's essences that you've recently brought out, haven't you?
I was when it was suggested to a friend of mine who does lots of men's wellness stuff, he came up to me and said, when are you going to start marketing essences to men's? I was like, essences for everybody, you know, they're not masculine and feminine, you know, we all have got the same stuff. He's like, yeah, but we need our own ones. It's like, we want ones that are special to us. And, you know, and men, you know, I've got 2 boys who are in their early 30s now, and they you know, all the way along, it's like they are different, you know, like all this gender neutral stuff, you know, it's like we can deny it what's wrong, but, you know, we know there's a masculine and feminine of all of us, but some, you know, if you're in a male body, there's different issues, and especially if you live with a woman, your masculinity is more pronounced often than if you live singly. So I bought out this range, and it was very interesting actually coming up with the blends. Once you get a name, it's much easier. Choosing the essences for them is easy, but kind of what specific issues men needed to deal with, but also then the names of them that didn't trigger stuff. but
Yeah.
what they were. And again, with the lens on the other ones, we want them to be positive affirmations for people rather than, no point having an essence that's called depression and despair.
No, I'm
you
not.
wouldn't want to take it, would you? But yeah, so with the men's essences, there's one that particularly, which again, women might find useful too, is one called Purpose and Drive. I know lots of men during lockdown, especially, but again, coming into this midlife is like, what have I been doing with my life? Should, it's if you are going to change direction, you better get on with it. You've got only a certain amount of years left working life, or even life itself. So the Purpose and Drive kind of just helps you become aware of what it is you're here for this time. And whether you need to change direction or whether you need to just get on and do it, or gives you the kind of confidence and the oomph to get on and do it. So it brings a lot of, if you're kind of struggling with what you're doing with your life in this kind of midlife thing, whether male or female, it's like it really give awareness to what you're here for.
Yeah.
Whether you want to carry on doing what you're doing now, or just give you the oomph to kind of just leave
a little gentle
next phase.
push.
Just a little push off the edge. Just go and do it. Go and see what happens. What's the worst?
Also, you're never too young to sort of start something. I mean, never too old, sorry, to start something new. And I think sometimes we get to this point in life and think, oh, well, I'm too old to start something new. And it's like, no. It's always a learning day, We should keep on learning and moving forward. And so something like that would be great, just giving you a little nudge in the right direction.
Yeah, so that goes in the kind of men's blend. There's also one that's called Calm and Gentle, which helps with anger and impatience and things.
Which again, we can kind of through that menopause journey. Some people can, really feel that rage, and
also lots of mums have been buying it for their children, boys and girls, toddlers. Sibling rivalry, those kind of things. Those boys who kind of just fight. It's like, let's just calm down, shall we? And then they're strong and capable, and that's much more about the masculine.
That's nice.
Coming into the masculine and feeling,
lovely. And those again, people can get on your website, and you've got them as a set of 3 as well. Box.
Yeah, you can buy those as a set of 3. They're a nice gift if you want to persuade the men in your life. But it is really good to get them to choose to want to take them themselves.
Definitely.
Often through my through my essence journey, I've given an awful lot of essences away for free, or just because I see someone and they really need it. But if people aren't ready to do that change, they're not going to take it. It's a waste of money. So I would check in with people where they're up for. They're not massively expensive, but it's a waste of resources and everything. If they're not going to bother. You can slip them into people's drinks, but there are moral obligations with that.
Yeah, no, definitely. And I'm very similar with the treatments that I offer as well. I kind of find that often people will buy a voucher for somebody for a massage or for a reflexology because they want them to sort of come along and experience that. They have it themselves and they get real benefit. But some people are very adverse to wanting to come. And I always sort of say, people will come when they're good and ready. And there's no point sort of almost forcing somebody if they're not ready. Then sometimes we can plant the seed, but someone else comes along and waters it for us, so
and I think that's why I'm here today for, is just think about flower essences when you come across a specific issue. They are brilliant, and I can't carry on about how amazing they are. And they're kind of soft and gentle but powerful as well, but really feminine in that way. And it's like this, there's a gentleness about the shifts and changes that happen, so it isn't scary. Mostly people don't buy essences because they're scared that they're going to work, and they'll have to change.
There is that.
But the change kind of happens just without you even noticing that you've changed. It's really nice.
You feel sort of almost like you've been embraced, really, and sort of it's got that nurturing vibe and energy to it, really. So it's a gentle way of moving through into change rather than it feeling quite sort of jolty and scary. So and you do your workshops, so I know you've got lots of, if people are interested in learning more about the essences themselves, and then they can do workshops. And if anyone wants to shop on your website, I have a discount code which people can use if they want to purchase anything direct from you. So you can use the code Sophia, and you get 10% off. So and for people that want to find where you are, you're on social media and you've got your main website. So do you want to just share those? And then
I'm www.saskiasflower saskiafloweressences.com, and it's at Saskia's Essences, Instagram mostly I'm on.
Okay, cool.
But
so
yeah,
people can
through the
find
website is the kind of easiest, really. If you just
yeah,
check it out.
perfect.
Yeah.
Super, brilliant. Oh, Saskia, it's been really lovely to chat to you today. I really appreciate it. And yeah, if anyone's got any questions, then they can obviously come follow you via social or send you an email, etc. And yeah, really, really appreciate your time.
Nice to speak to you, Charlie.
And you, sweetheart. You take care. Lots of love.
Thanks. Bye.